Welcome back to the Us Girls Basketball Podcast, where we hear from real women, real ballers, and real stories. Everybody, you're in for a treat because you just get
Let's
Emma and I today. Like, this is our first
Just us.
duo, and you might.
I'm so excited.
I'm pumped, but you might be a little scared because our true crackhead self's gonna come out. So be prepared.
Yep, it's gonna get kind of crazy, you know.
This is our warning. I just want you guys to we have to do that
You
warning.
have been warned.
You have been warned.
Yes.
So I'm really pumped because obviously Em and I could talk forever, but this is like a topic that we really want to talk about, and that is just constructive criticism, how to take criticism, how to apply it, mindset shifts with it, all of that type of stuff. But you know, if you guys listen to the podcast, you know that we have like a tradition, and Emma's already answered the question, but I want to throw a loop at Emma. She didn't know I was going to ask this question. I just want to ask,
what's going on?
Emma, what has one thing, what is one thing you've learned within this past like month or something? Because you've had some big life changes, girl. You got accepted to grad school. You graduated college. So like, throw something.
Oh my goodness.
I know, I'm putting you on the spot, bro.
I know. I have not been asked this in the last month, but I would definitely say something. I know. Wow, you're making me really think here today on a Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday, whatever day it is. I don't know. But anyways, one thing I have really learned from all of this is probably just to follow your heart and follow what you really want to do and be confident in that. And that just goes through my whole undergrad with graduating college recently and then going to grad school now. I'm going to be down in Indianapolis. So that's really exciting. I don't know, just if you got a passion for it, just go for it, because we're at the point in our lives, you know what, you've worked this much, you've put in this much effort and time, and the tears, the good times, the bad times, go for it. This is it. I've been built up to this point, you know, it's my time to fly. The world's my oyster. I could do what I want with it, you know, I'm coming to the world. But no, I'm very excited, and I get to follow what I've been wanting to do my whole life. So yeah, just definitely, if you have a passion, go for it. And am I nervous? Yeah, 100%. But you know what? You make mistakes, you got to try, and that's what I'm excited for.
Boom. Deep.
Wow.
It. Look at that. She wasn't prepared, but she brought the sauce, so it don't even
But I'm ready.
She better be ready.
I appreciate it.
You should have seen it before we started record. So anyway,
we were
okay. But Emma,
I love it.
I do too.
Yes.
Let's go ahead. How about you start us off today with the first kind of point that we want to talk on with constructive criticism, because you actually were the one that brought this topic up. So girl, you just take it and I'll follow your lead.
Awesome. Okay, so the first thing, when we were thinking of ideas of what to really address, especially on these duo podcasts with me and you, just you know, hey, we're gonna have guests sometimes, but sometimes, you know, we could break this down a little bit deeper with our experience and what we want to go through, and not necessarily if we just don't want someone else. I really do appreciate us doing this. I think it's a cool intake that what we can get and what we can offer our audience. But when I first thought of this topic and brought it to you, I instantly thought of criticism, in positive criticism, positive reinforcement with criticism. And it all stems down to not necessarily what's how the message is said to you, but what the message is. And I know we can relate that back to when coaches tell us one thing, when a boss tells us, or a fellow coworker or a teammate, especially on the court. You see teammates interact with each other. Sometimes they're yelling at each other, maybe even berating and getting on their butts or whatnot, saying you can do better. It comes from a place with good intentions, not necessarily how it is said. And sometimes we just get caught up in the heat of the moment, and that follows on the basketball court, and that follows on life. So when I really thought of criticism, it really stemmed for me as, what are these people around you wanting for you? If they can see your potential is so much more than where you're at right now, and the effort you're getting can be so much more, that's good criticism. That is almost a compliment in a way, in my eyes, because someone else can see better potential in you. They can see more than what you're giving yourself if you're selling yourself short. And so when it comes to criticism like that, especially when it comes to effort, time management, commitment, if necessarily someone's coming at you about those topics, it's not a bad thing. It could just set you off to be a better player, a better person, a better worker, a better friend, a better partner, a better leader in any type of way. It's kind of that outside the box thinking we don't want to hear, but we know we need to hear to make us take that extra step to be that better friend, leader, partner, anything like that.
Yeah, I like that. And it's funny because like my first 2 points were mindset shift and understanding intention. So it was like literally what you just said. Because it's like if we have the mindset shift of this person's just trying to help me, like, and two, like, you have to think if it's a coach, you know, like they're also in the heat of the moment. Sometimes they might be physically like and verbally like yelling louder because it's in a game, or maybe something happened. And I know how it is, like, even being as positive I was with my teammates, like sometimes when it's like you just got done like running and you're tired and like these things, like sometimes you verbally just like it comes out like
I hate running so much. I'm sorry, I hate running. Keep going.
Me too. Like ugh. But it's kind of like you like project it louder and maybe in a verbal tense that's like not actually accurate to what you're meaning. So sometimes it's just in the heat of the moment, sometimes it's not. But also, like you said, Emma, understanding intentions. Like, is this person actually like always mean to me, like on and off the court? So like I get it like this, but or is this person helping me? They've always helped me, they've always supported me. So like when they say something, are they saying it because they love me? And most of the time it's yes. Now, this is a topic that we could talk about like later, but like there is a boundary, and we just want to say this now. There is a boundary that you have to know. You have to know if it is more on the like verbal abuse, bullying, mean side. Agreed. There is that side that you do need to watch out for. But I say this in the lightest term, like I think we're starting to have more of a victim mentality. Like it's always like boohoo me type of thing. And like, and again, I say this in the lightest term because I know Emma and I both stand for this. We're very mental health advocates. Like this is something I take seriously. Huge. Like we both have had our share of mental things and abuse and all of this stuff. So like we get it. But there's a fine line between it's your coach just being loud and or your teammate being loud, or this versus mean and bullying. So we want to preface that before we get started with that.
Yes,
but yeah,
we want to make that clear.
Very clear.
I definitely
go for it.
Yeah, just real quick. I definitely agree, especially hitting that point. Like we want to make that clear. If there's anything that ever is bothering you or you are unsure of yourself, regardless watching this podcast, if you're not relating directly, which we're not speaking towards an audience that is going through exactly what I went through, what like Jay went through. Like we are trying to bring everything together to maybe like if you are experiencing any type of anything we're talking about or something related or you're not sure, please reach out. You can follow Jay, you can contact me. Like we are open to DMs, messages and whatnot. Please, if you are questioning anything, just ask for help. It is totally okay. But definitely with what we're talking about here today is I really like how, stemming off of what you said, you need to know whether if it's just on the court or off the court. And that comes back to what you had just said too. Like there is a right way to doing this, but there's also like the wrong way. And it comes through like the whole like point you brought up, how we have like this victim mindset. And I don't necessarily want to say it's because like we're trying to stress mental health, because that should not be a weakness. That should be something like you were confident in, that you were okay with talking about. But there is a time and a place to where you might be overthinking it, because maybe you really just aren't working that hard. Maybe you aren't running through the line. Maybe you are cheating the drill. Like those are things that are in my mind inexcusable, and you can't be seeking like help. Well, you can be seeking help to like understand what to do right, but like you can't be playing that victim saying like I'm doing it right, but you're saying I'm doing it wrong, but you really aren't. So like I do agree with you. I'm really glad you hit that point. There is a fine line between this is like good criticism to take, or this is something that is like constantly happening, not just in the game, but outside the game at practice, like little comments and whatnot. It is two different spectrums. So I'm glad you really want to make that clear.
Yeah, exactly. And I think constructive criticism too is a form of accountability. It's almost like you said, like touching the line or like finishing the drill or going hard. Like, that's not
Mhm.
because like you're getting like yelled at and like in a bad tense or any of this. It's because like it's accountability. Like, you should have accountability
Mhm.
within your life no matter what, but especially in athletics, it's like the
Yeah.
whole point of being great is to finish through stuff, to be intentional with how I do things. Even if you don't like the drill, even if you don't agree with the drill or it makes you tired, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
you have to be
Yeah,
intentional
totally.
about what you do. So like, you should welcome constructive criticism. I think that's another
Mhm.
thing, like with the mindset shift. And like, one thing I've learned huge, especially through my mental health journey, but like just in life in general, is like
Yeah.
um that wording change. So like, instead of like thinking of criticism or constructive criticism in a negative way, like you don't want it, welcome it. Welcome
Mhm.
wanting to grow. Welcome somebody saying to you, oh, like, you didn't do this as good. I think you could do it better. Let's do it again. You know what I mean? Welcome that.
Mhm.
Hey, you didn't
Yeah.
really like explode off of that, double move when you were going lane. You
Right.
didn't jump high enough, or you didn't do this, or like, come on, make a better pass.
Mhm.
Like that. Like, that's not degrading you. That's, hey, you're better than this, and I'm not gonna
Mhm.
let you be less than
Agreed.
your standard. So if you just take a second and like shift your mindset, and again, like, another point I kind of want to like hit with it is like not letting
Mhm.
the heat of the moment get to you in that stance, because like we just said, like a
Yeah.
coach or a player or maybe someone in the stands, someone, whatever, like sometimes the heat of the moment, things come out a lot more aggressive than what the intention is. So if you can sit there and just kind of like be like, it's okay, people are not trying to
Mhm.
bully me. I mean, if there is bullying, that's different, but it's just,
Yes. Yeah.
it's not out of a mean tense. Like, this is
Yes.
not like, the
Mhm.
intention is not to be mean. I think that you can welcome it a lot better, and then like your mindset shift with constructive criticism starts to open, and you have that
Mhm.
strong foundation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I totally do. And off of that, like, another thing that from my personal experience with the whole mental mindset that I went through at my first college and just basically reworking my confidence back up, I had learned through that experience, and per what you had just said, it just rekindled in me. Like, you can wait for that constructive criticism to come at you, or you can search for it too. You can ask for it.
Yeah.
And who's not to say after a hard practice, maybe you didn't get as celebrated as someone else who was doing exactly what you were doing. This is a
Mhm.
time to humble yourself. This is a time to
Mhm.
be like, I don't want to ask coach this question, but I'm going to, because apparently something to them in their eyes wasn't good enough, or to the standard that I could perform to that level. That's when
Mhm.
you swallow your pride and you walk up and you say, hey, what can I do better? What can I learn from today? What did you see that I didn't see, or I didn't put enough
Yeah.
effort in? And that also takes you on a whole different level with a coach, with a coaching staff, with even a teammate. That is you willing to put yourself aside and know that, hey, for this 2 hour 3 hour practice, this 1 hour 2 hour game, like, I'm not doing something right, or I'm just doing a little bit wrong, critique me,
Mhm.
criticize me in the way that I can perform, so we collectively as a whole can do this together. Because at
Yeah.
the end of the day, I don't care how much you can score, I don't care how many assists you have, how many rebounds you have. The sport of basketball is a 5 player sport. It's 5 versus 5, not 5v1, not 1 versus 5. No
Mhm.
matter how good you are, you're going to have criticism. You're going to need that criticism, and you're going to need to search for it, not just let it come to you, because
Mhm.
the things that you aren't doing necessarily good that you think don't matter could be that little key that we need to fit into that lock to, boom, win the game. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying every little piece is going to come from the one person, because it's not. It's going to take everyone individually, like, putting their strengths together. And yeah, like, tensions are going to rise. The aggressiveness and how it is said doesn't really mean that it needs to be portrayed that way either. And the
Yeah.
biggest thing that I learned from my experience was, when things weren't going right for me, when I wasn't playing, when I wasn't getting like the attention like I thought I deserved, or like that I really wanted or whatnot, I tried to do my best, and I really did it a lot. I swallowed that pride, and you know what? I walked up to my coach and I said in my head, like, I know I'm not playing. I don't know how far this is going to go, but I'm going to take what I'm learning here on this court, put it in real life. If something's not going right at work, I want to swallow my pride. I want to be gullible enough. I want to be uncomfortable enough in a
Mhm.
comfortable way to be like,
Mhm.
hey, something I don't know what I'm doing that isn't approvable to you, but please let me know because I have the capabilities. I want to grow. I want you to help me grow, to help all of this grow. And I think that right there is just a huge mindset that a lot of people don't want to ask for help. It really falls back on, like, what do you see that I can improve on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think too, going off of that, that's like maturity. That's maturity in
Mhm.
your game. That's maturity in life. That's maturity. Like when you, because trust me, it's hard. Sometimes when you know you're right and you have to kind of swallow your pride a little bit and just be like,
Yeah.
okay, let me get this criticism
Mm.
and keep going. It sucks. Like it's
Yeah,
not fun,
it
but like
does.
coming from, I'm gonna like from a competitive athlete to another competitive athlete,
Mhm.
like I'm gonna challenge you. Like go up to a coach and talk to him or her. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like figure out what you're not doing right, or figure out even if you're the best player in the team, you're still not a perfect basketball player. Maya Moore is still
Mhm.
not a perfect basketball player. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't matter like what
Exactly.
level you are, you're never going to be a perfect basketball player. So what can you do to get better? And that's just like growing. Like I don't know, like that's why like personally we're going to talk about life. That's why I have people like Emma in my life. That's why I have other like some of my
Mhm.
other best friends, because I know I could go to Emma and be like, Emma, what can I do to be better? What can I do to
Yeah,
be a better, you know, duo in our podcast? What can I do to be a better friend? How can
totally.
I support you better? Like these, like it's the same thing. It's just because sports were so competitive that like
Mhm.
we don't want criticism because we're competitive,
Exactly.
you know? So
Exactly.
it's just kind of again like we're gonna keep saying it, but like switching that mindset and like the thoughts and the words that you put into your head are like, why is constructive criticism good, or
Mhm.
criticism in general? Like, what can I do to get better? Because you know we
Right.
all want to be great. So like this is like another step to be great. Like even
Mhm.
if it's like it doesn't even have to be your coach. It could be your trainer. It could be like if you trust one of your parents that
Literally.
understands the sport, you could be like, what do you see from the stands? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like don't like I mean it's not necessarily like a you got to shoot more, you got to do that, like you know what I mean, like interfering with the
Right.
team. It's more like hustle or energy or like maybe attitude or like how you are as a team, you know, stuff like that. But like yeah, I think it's taking that step in maturity in life and on the court, because you're gonna have to do these things once basketball ends. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah.
not like it goes away from you. You're always gonna
Yeah.
get constructive criticism.
Mhm.
Always.
I completely agree. Yeah, and it's just, it's like it's an open mindset. You need to be okay with being criticized. You need to be okay with saying you're not the best. You need to be okay with making mistakes and being uncomfortable, because if there's one person in this world that I know me and Jay fully believe in that does not make any mistakes, and that's our Lord Savior Jesus Christ, and that is the
Mm-hmm.
one that we should be following in his image. But he also teaches us you're gonna make mistakes. You're in my image, but I'm going to guide you through these mistakes. I'm going to teach you these lessons.
Yeah.
And that's what we are ultimately here to do, like on this earth. And that is what I believe. That may not be what like you believe or what anyone else listening to this believes, but even in the sports world, even in the work world, there is a group of people, a team that you are working with. And
Mm-hmm.
who is not to say that is the Lord himself, like on this planet, trying to help you, each individual
Yeah.
person, to where you can be, to where we can all be together. And put that into the sports world. That's your coach, that's your assistant coach, that's your trainer, those are your teammates. Those are the people that don't even get to play. Like you need every component to help you all as a whole get to that level. And nowhere should we'd be allowed to like have so much pride to say we don't
Mm-hmm.
need that help. And that's just one thing that is big on me too, and that I don't necessarily like in players or the players I've played against, that it's
Mm-hmm.
me, it's only me, that's all I need is me, because what I do is right, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
always right, it's always good. And we all know a few of those players, and you know, more power to you if you are good, if you can talk the talk, you can do whatever, but it's going to catch up with you, and it's going to be one wrong thing said or one wrong thing done, and it's going to hit you like a wall. And the best thing I can say is to, instead of let that wall like hit you, instead of build up that pride, be vulnerable enough, be okay and comfortable enough to ask first before it hits
Mm-hmm.
you, so that whenever something does come your way, you're going to be like, whoa, okay, I've been waiting for this because this is what I've been searching for in a coach to tell me. Now it's coming at me when I didn't see it coming. But you know what? I see where you're coming from. I
Yeah.
see what you see now, because it's a different perspective. It's a different mindset. But for that player, for us to be open through constructive criticism, we need to have that open mindset, because one way is not the highway in basketball. You see all these interstates coming in, these crossovers, these bypasses, whatnot. They all lead to one place. Yeah, because they're different mindsets, they're different routes, they're different ways, but they're all important ways. They're all specific ways. They're all detailed ways, because the details will get you there. And if we're not willing to pay attention to these other outside factors to an extent, because we don't like outside factors to an extent as well, but you can't be so close-minded in this sport and in this world, and especially as a young female player growing up, you can't be close-minded as much as you want to be. You need to listen to these other athletes. You need to pay attention to what's going on in this world. We can't just rub it off our shoulder anymore. And that's ultimately what we're doing with this podcast, is bringing attention to things that we wish we would have put more attention on going through our journey and whatnot.
Boom, mic drop right there. That was great. Boom. If you need to think on this question when I ask it, I have my answer, but I want to pose this question to you. Like, when was it during, like, was there a specific time in your career, like maybe on the court, or like you were sitting alone, or like a coach said something where you were like, man, I need to really swallow my pride right now? Like, you kind of were caught in that, like, not wanting to take constructive criticism type of thing. And then now you finally were like, okay, I need to kind of take a step back real quick. Like, was there a moment where you were like, oh, I'm not perfect?
Yeah.
To put it quite bluntly.
It definitely was. I would definitely say there was a few times, handful of times in my first college experience. I went there for 3 years. I wasn't really playing, and I was getting a couple of minutes here, a couple of minutes there, but like I would kill it in some practices. Sometimes I would do bad. Part of me had to really swallow my pride in knowing like I wasn't playing how I wanted to play, or basically like to my own standards. It was always for someone else, or like for the coaches what they wanted, but it wasn't getting me on the court. So it was kind of hard in that aspect to just, I was doing what I was told, but it wasn't getting me to where I wanted to be. And it was just very frustrating. So definitely in that moment, I remember I had to just, calm myself. And in my head, I even told myself, I was like, I don't know if this is even approaching them, showing them that I'm putting an effort to physically ask them after practices and games, like, what can I do more? I didn't know if it was going to pay off, but in that instant, there was just something in me. And with my conversations with my parents, they're like, you have to do this. So like, you have to have that relationship with your coach to make it not seem like you're standoffish, like you're doing what they want you to do, but you're also at the Division II level, which where I was, like, you need to pursue them too. Like, you need to show them your interest in this and getting better and whatnot. And so that kind of was hard to do, even though I knew it wasn't necessarily going to get me on the court anymore. But probably another really specific one though was from my previous college I just graduated from. I went from not playing at this Division II school for 3 years to coming here right away, started every game, became like one of the key players on the team. And I was definitely for the team. I never wanted to like step on any toes or whatnot, because I just wanted to win and like have a good year, because I never got to experience that. So that was my ultimate goal no matter what. And I remember there was one drill. This is like halfway through the season, and like we're on a win streak too, and like the starters are in and we're doing this drill, and I keep messing it up and I keep getting yelled at by the head coach. And I'm just like, at first I'm like, why are you coming at me like that? Like, we're like good friends, like, come on. And that's the thing, like in that moment, you need to understand where the coach is and where the player is. It's no longer friend and friend. Like, they are in charge of you for a reason. And it was a very humbling moment, because I got called out 3 times and I got kicked out of the drill, and I was told to go stand on the sideline. And the assistant coach came up to me and she was like, like, you were busting your butt, like you were going hard, but listen to what she is saying, listen to what she is asking you. Because we would do these drills like day in and day, and it would be the same thing, but one small thing would be different, like a steal with your left hand, or don't touch the ball, or no dribbles involved. Like, one thing was always switching up, and I just wasn't listening to that one detail. And I got called out and I got pushed to the side, and she was like, make her watch, like make her understand what we're doing. And that's when I had to like, swallow my pride and really be like, I'm a starter, like I'm one of the good players on this team, but I need to be humbled. I need to pay attention to detail. I need to watch what I'm doing and listen to what I need to do. And in that moment, I took my few minutes to relax, to calm myself. And I was like, you know what? Okay, bigger picture. Like, I need to do what I specifically am being told to do in this drill. It has nothing to do with my ability or who I am or what I am on this team. I was just another player in the gym. And that was very humbling to me and really helped me pay attention to like detail and wording and what is being asked.
Yeah, exactly. I think with that, you know, it was kind of like the understanding the intention side of it, because it wasn't like your head coach wasn't doing it to be mean. Like she said, she pulled you out so you could see the drill, so you could be successful in the drill. So I think like that's like important, you know what I mean? So like that's really cool that you could recognize that. And yeah, like your story hits everything that we were saying perfect. And I would say like mine that like sticks out to me was, you know, like if you play with me, you know, I'm such like a team player, like atmosphere, like I'm that senior that's talking to the freshmen and making the freshmen feel about, you know what I mean? Like my team and how I respect my team and how I was a leader for my team, that was very important to me. And I always wanted to talk to them like respectfully and never like with an attitude or rude or anything. And I remember like, I can't remember if it was in practice or was in a game. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like I was frustrated and we were just not on it. Like it might have been we had this like spurt where we did not play good for like 5 games. So it could have been like through that. And I just remember like being really snappy with a teammate. And in my head, I was like, it's whatever because they know that I'm a team player. You know what I'm saying? They know that I like them. They know like, or that I love them. They know this. But then I had to like, I could tell that it really like affected her. And I had to like sit there and swallow my pride. And like, I think probably my dad, he was coaching at the time, or like one of the coaches went up and was like, hey, like that was a low key, a little snappy. Like you should probably say something. And then that's when it hit me was like, dang, it doesn't matter how good of a teammate I am. I'm not perfect and I messed up. So like go and say sorry, like swallow your pride and say like, sorry, hey, I didn't mean that. My intentions weren't this. This was my intention, but I'm so sorry. Like how I made you feel. Like that was definitely one of the things that like came to my mind when I was thinking, which I've had the same kind of experiences like you, Emma, like in college, where like going up to coaches and like feeling like, dude, I don't know what else I could do because I'm doing everything you asked, but like I don't like respect your criticism, but sometimes you just have to sit there and be like, okay, you're the head coach.
Let me just ask. Yeah.
Like,
and it's and it definitely, you get to a point where you're just like, do I have to do this? Do like I even really want to do this? Do I want to learn? Do I want to play? Like what's it going to cost me or whatnot? And it's just, basketball is so much more of a life lesson than it is a sport to me in my eyes. And that's going through middle school, high school, travel, college level, playing at 2 different college levels. Like this game teaches you so much respect about yourself and about others, and accountability and maturity and responsibility and time management. It is literally the ultimate test for you when you're ready to like start your own life in this world, when you're ready to just keep going and pursue what you want to do. Because let's face it, I mean, I had my dream, like sure, we grow up, we all want to be WNBA players, play Division I. I always wanted to go to Notre Dame, you know, go Irish, like Buffett, like all that stuff, like great teams, like great programs, whatnot. I mean, even it hit me, and I had a conversation with my dad like going into college. I was like, I got 4 more guaranteed years, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with not playing overseas. I'm okay with knowing I'm not good enough to go on to the professional level. But what I do know is I can make the most out of these 4 years wherever I go, whatever I go through. And I can take that and I can take this journey and these stories and these experiences and put it out into the real world. I can talk to others. I can relate to others. You and I can relate and reach out to other people that are just thinking they're the only ones going through this when they're not. And it's because no one talks about it. It's because we think like, oh, this is just basketball. It's basketball talk. Like it's all for sports, like push it in the sports store and close it and lock it. No, let it come out. Talk about it. If something happens at practice, you're not sure of, talk about it. If something happens in a game, you're questioning, talk about it. Behind the scenes on road trips with coaches, with teammates, with everything, like even one-on-one with yourself in the gym. This is life. Basketball is a part of it. Make it the best part that you can possibly can, as much as you can, but just know if you got a question in basketball, you're probably going to have a question some part in life. Is it going to coincide? Maybe a little bit, maybe a lot, maybe not even at all. But this sport has showed me so much growth and strength and confidence and belief in myself that I really hope the younger generation knows that's what's to come. You're going to find yourself. You're going to find what you like, what makes you uncomfortable, what good teammates are, what bad teammates are, all there in between. And I just think this whole criticism is part of it because it plays a big role. Like when you're off the court, the criticism you hear from your parents and how hard that can be, whether it's good or bad, coming from teammates and coaches as well. Like it's a whole different lesson. It's a big experience, but you're not alone. You're not going through it alone.
Yeah, no, that's a huge point you hit because I say that all the time. Like when I'm talking to people, I'm like, why do we look at sports in real life as completely different? Like it's the same. It's just you dribble a ball or you kick a ball or you catch a ball. You know what I mean? Like it's like you still learn the same thing. So it's like the same lessons are in it. And like it's just funny how we like even like bigger topics that like, you know, Emma and I have written about on Us Girls or like even on my page or even like things that Emma has talked about on this podcast and stuff like comparison and identity problems and mental health and criticism and all of that stuff like we talk about in real life, but we forget that it's in sports too. Like, why do we forget about it when that's like some of the biggest things we deal with is like the mental side of everything. So that's why like we like, you know, do this podcast and we talk about things like this because it's that important to us to like because we've been through it. We've seen other players gone through it. Like it's not just us. Like that's why we have all of these guests on here listen to their story. They have gone through the same thing. I guarantee you, even if they didn't talk about the topic, I guarantee you if you talk to them right now and ask them about something, they would have a story about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This dog and this. If you guys are watching
the video,
of course,
so
and my dog keeps like popping up.
Look at it.
He's mad at me.
I love
he's
it.
Not out here, but yeah.
He's
so
like, come on, mom.
Literally. Oh goodness.
He's like, oh, we give you the look.
He's nuts. But so with that being said, Emma, is there any last like thoughts? Because we talked about, you know, criticism is like a mindset shift. It's understanding the intentions. It's not letting the heat of the moment get to you. And then it's act. And then we kind of touched on a little bit like there is a time and place that when you actually need to step up and say, hey, like I'm not liking the way that I'm being treated. I don't think this is constructive. It's more mean. So we kind of touched on all those topics. Like, is there anything that you have to say before we head off on this topic?
Not really. Maybe just, well, honestly, just the one thing that I can say is this topic can definitely be like stretched and widened and talked about even more, even though we've done this like short little podcast for y'all to listen to, that everyone that's following, reposting and sharing, we really do appreciate it. If there's any other questions or anything addressed related to criticism, positive or negative criticism, whether you're not understanding it or maybe where it's coming from or even the setting it's in, even if it's not basketball, like if there is anything you can all think of that maybe you want us to address more or you need some help with, please don't be afraid to reach out. Just what we talked about today is just the small few things that me and Jay have been related through and been able to talk about, and just the small ideas that we have both expanded on here today. There's so much more to be talked about, so don't think that just what we're talking about is this small little window right here. But other than that, just know that you said it first off, there's two types of criticism. There's good for you and there's good for you and then there's bad for you. It's one or the other. So there's definitely a different mindset that you need to understand with both of those. But through all of it, I feel like the open mindset of just realizing what is happening is very crucial. But like I said, feel free, any questions, comments, concerns, like we're always here to address anything to help out. But this is what we talked about today, and I'm happy we discussed the topics that we did.
Perfect. Well, with that note being said, everybody make sure to rate and review this podcast as well as share it to anybody who might need this. I know that we all deal with criticism. We all deal with not wanting to take it, thinking it's worse than what it is, constructive criticism, just learning how to grow and mature in this topic. So if you know of a teammate, maybe get together as a team and like as you're driving to practice, listen to this podcast just as a refresher before practice or a game or something like that. Make sure to follow the @UsGirlsUnited page. Emma and I will have our Instagrams. If you're watching this on the video, it's definitely like right there under the screen. If not, look at the show notes below. We're going to be tagged in the At Us Girls page. So make sure, reach out to both of us. If you want to, you can reach out to us individually. You can reach out to us on the Us Girls page, whatever. Like, we're literally an open book. Like, we will literally tell you absolutely anything, any questions you need. You're going to be off topic of basketball. Like, we got you, girl. Like, this is a community.
Literally.
This is something that we like truly believe in. So make sure to just, if you have questions, let us know. And with that being said, we will see you guys next week. Peace.